Welcome back to the Norris Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt, co-host Ben Miller, and of course our director, Garrett Jordan. Fellas, we are here for our college football picks. We gave our NFL picks the other day, and now it's time to give our college football picks. Before that, though, we want to talk about last week, some of the highlights. I'll go ahead and start with this. I love bringing this game up. USC and LSU. That was the game of the week for me.
Sure it was.
And it was because LSU looked good as well. The defense, but I loved the quarterback duel between Moss and Garrett Nussmeier. I want to make sure I said it right.
Yeah.
Garrett Nussmeier. I thought that battle between the two was very good. The two composed quarterbacks that looked to be top tier or higher tier quarterbacks in college football. USC especially, though, looked good as their offense was obviously great, but the defense was the main issue with Caleb Williams, the Heisman, obviously, quarterback. And defense looked a lot better this week, or last week now. So I'm excited to see, or I'm not like a big USC fan, but I'm curious to see what this team looks like going throughout the season.
Yeah, for me, it was between three of the matchups that had top 25 teams, and I decided to go with the only team that went into a actual road environment, and I went with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They went into College Station and picked up a huge W despite QB Riley Leonard shaking off the rust, going 18 of 30 for 158 yards. They ran for almost 200 yards on the ground and now have a very, very favorable schedule to make the playoffs. So for me, it's Notre Dame Fighting Irish, most impressive win.
For myself, I'm looking at Clemson versus Georgia. I mean, just seeing Georgia so dominant. I mean, they were dominant offensively and defensively. And Carson Beck, he's going to be up there for the Heisman, though. But it was just crazy to see their defense perform like that. I mean, in a way, I did not see Clemson only scoring 3 points. I thought they would put a couple of touchdowns on the board. But overall, though, I was just impressed with the Georgia defense. I mean, it's obvious that they're heavily favored to win the SEC.
I would argue I saw that game being a low-scoring game, but for both teams, not just Clemson.
Yeah.
Because the last game was like some weird score, like 9-7 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like 10-7. I don't know. But Garrett, you had one you wanted to say, right?
I was just going to piggyback off of what Josh said. I think the Notre Dame Texas A&M game was probably, outside of the LSU USC game, the closest one that we got in this slate. And I think it's a really impressive program win for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame to go into, according to EA, what was the toughest environment in college football to play in, and come out with a 10-point victory. I'll echo a little bit of what Josh said. Riley Leonard, he's getting his legs working. He's showing that he can be that dual threat guy. He actually reminds me, and this is I'm not making this as a comparison. This is who he reminds me of. The way he runs and his size reminds me of a Josh Allen type football quarterback, where he's just a big bruiser that will throw his body out there. And he can also sling the ball really far. We didn't see it too much in this game, but I really like the fit for Riley Leonard at Notre Dame under third-year coach Marcus Freeman. And also the running back, Jeremiah Love, I think is his name.
Sounds right.
No, Josh is...
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, I think his last name is Love. Not sure about his first name. But he will also be a very good release valve for Riley Leonard. When he's looking for those down the field passes that he doesn't have, he'll be an easy check down that'll get you 5 yards every single time.
There was a team, though, that surprised you not in a good way, but a bad way, that I thought you wanted to mention as well.
Oh, are we talking about DJU?
We're
gonna move into that now.
You wanted to bring them up.
That's what I thought you wanted to bring up. Good old, you need to get a job.
Yeah, DJ. Man,
yeah.
I don't know what to say, man.
Speechless.
It's just so he's a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, up there with the
ranked
likes
above
of
CJ Stroud,
and he's ranked amongst the NFL talents currently of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Don't know if Josh views Bryce Young as a talent, but regardless of that fact, he was ranked with those guys. So theoretically, those two guys are in the NFL. he should also be in the NFL. He should be on that same trajectory, and it just hasn't happened. And I don't think anybody really knows why, because he started out taking over for Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. Granted, Clemson lost a lot of players after that year, but he's a 5-star quarterback. He's expected to come in and pick up right where Lawrence left off.
Absolutely.
So the fact that he wasn't able to do that for 2 years, then transferred to Oregon State, didn't do it there, and then is now at Florida State and appears to be doing the exact same things he was doing at Clemson is incredibly disappointing to see, not only for him, but also for a Florida State coach or a Mike Norvell coached Florida State team, because I really like Mike Norvell. I think he is a good coach. I think it just comes down to that on-field talent.
So is the blame shouldered? And feel free, one of you two, to answer. Is it fully on you need to get a job, or is it? Is there other holes in this? Like, surely
Well,
it's not all him, right?
I'm gonna say I can answer that
Yeah, go
question.
for it. I'm
That
talking too
defensive line has been completely dominated in both games.
Yep.
Boston College honestly had the time of possession in the first half. I want to say it was 20-10 or 25-5.
There was the first number was a 2, which is
Yes.
not acceptable.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So no. But it was one of those things that me and Garrett talked about before the season started when we talked about Florida State. They lost so much talent on defense. Nobody talked
Yeah.
about that. But they lost 2 dudes who could have potentially been drafted in the first round. They lost their 2 best wide receivers. They lost their best running back. They lost their best quarterback. There was no reason for this team to be ranked in the top 10, and they
Yeah.
were. So I don't get it. I never bought into the hype. They were never in consideration for me to be in the wide open ACC. So the love for them just was not there for me. And plus, a lot of it does have to do with DJU and just knowing that he's not good. He would be a good G5 type quarterback. Like
Yeah,
if he's at
I
UC or he's still at Oregon State playing with the Mountain West and stuff like that, yeah, it could work. But he's not a Power 5 quarterback. He's just not.
Yep.
Well, is there any other surprises that you guys wanted to bring up before we get into our picks?
I did kind of.
Go ahead.
I can't remember if we're talking about this game or not. It doesn't. I guess we can talk about it since for last week.
Yeah.
But Miami and Florida. I guess since we're already talking about the ACC, I think we've determined who the powerhouse is in the ACC, because, good Lord, Cam Ward looks like the Heisman favorite right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he actually might have jumped to who Vegas' Heisman favorite
I
after
mean,
that game.
that was
Understandably so.
Go into the swamp and do that. That doesn't happen.
It's one
No,
thing to come
no.
out with
One
a
of the-
win.
one of the toughest environments ever in college football, and for them to win, what was the score? 41
to 17, I think.
Yeah, that
like to
sounds right.
win by that many points in the swamp. Like I said before, the swamp is one of the
I think
most
it's the
tough-
hardest. I think it's the hardest place.
Yeah, one of the most-
I know that everybody says A&M
At
because
their
of
peak of their powers,
yes, no.
perhaps. Same with
They're-
Texas A&M.
Yeah, they're 5 yards from the field. That place is extremely loud. I'd love to play there.
Yeah.
Man,
I thought that game would be close, to be honest with you.
I thought it would be closer too.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be closer at least. I didn't expect it to be like that.
It's sort of like what I took away from the Florida State Boston College game, right? Where it's like Florida, I expected to be better than this, and Miami was very surprising with the quarterback play of Cam Ward.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see what I've always kind of been down on that Miami team, so they exceeded my expectations, so I'm excited to see if they continue to do so. Because it's been a while since Miami's been
Yeah,
good
you
throughout the
gotta
season.
bring it back to you, dude.
They've always had the good expectations, but in reality, realizing those expectations, we haven't seen that.
It was
So
Tyler Van Dyke was the QB last year, right?
Oh,
And it just didn't work out.
Did not work out.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's now up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But to just finish up the Florida State conversations that they run together, I don't know if you guys heard, but because how soft both teams have gotten, they moved the Florida State game to Hallmark, and it'll be played at 8 a.m.
Oh,
Oh, that's good. I like that one. That's
But
a
I
good
can't
one.
take credit for that. I saw,
Yeah,
I saw
no
that on-
way Josh came up with that
I saw
on
that
Twitter.
on Twitter, and I died laughing.
I will
So-
say one more point about this game before we
course.
move on. The way that Cam Ward played the quarterback position in that game was probably the most nonchalant I've seen a quarterback play
Unfazed.
since Johnny Manziel. I mean, that guy just
Unfazed.
looked like he was a natural on the field. I mean, he's rolling out to his right, or rolling out to his left, slinging balls to his right. Like, he's just like, it's just so natural for him.
yeah.
Like, he just looks completely unfazed, and he almost looked bored. It's like it almost looks like he was asking for a real challenge the way he was playing quarterback.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It looked like some Madden players out there, just absolute fun. But I'd say it's time for us to get to our picks. Josh, I'll let you take this one.
All right, gentlemen. This is just going to be a six-pack, kind of like our NFL was. So the first matchup will be number 3 Texas at number 10 Michigan, 12 p.m. on Fox.
Be careful how you answer this one.
Texas dominated Colorado State 52-0. Michigan survived Fresno 30-10 after a Will Johnson pick 6. This matchup has only been played once in its history. Can you imagine that?
I'm
These
surprised.
two
That's crazy.
prestigious colleges for football have only played once. It was 2005 Rose Bowl when everybody got introduced to Vince Young, who had 21 carries, 192 yards and 4 touchdowns. Luckily for Michigan, Vince Young is not going to be playing on the field, but instead Quinn Ewers is going to be playing. However, Michigan is going to be being led by quarterback Davis Warren and running back Khalil Mullings, which is not what we all expected as Michigan fans coming into the year. We thought it'd be Orgy and the Don. So, gentlemen, Texas, Michigan, who you got?
I mean, you said my answer for me when you said Fresno survives Fresno State. When you say that, and you're going up against Texas, a team that looked miles ahead of Colorado State, who isn't as good as Fresno State. Fresno State is a good mid-major team for sure, but yeah, give me Texas.
Yeah, I'm going with Texas as well. I mean, like you mentioned, Josh, it was a great offensive performance, especially from Quinn Ewers, but I'm a little concerned for Michigan's offense. I mean, they did not look that good against Fresno State. So, and now that they're playing the number 3 ranked team in the country, that does give me a little bit of concern. So I'm going with Texas.
Yeah. Josh, you correct me if I'm wrong. You have tickets to this game, right? You're going to be in the big house for this game.
I cannot confirm or deny.
All right, just make sure you bring me some of your tears when you drive back. All right. Yeah, I really don't see this. I really don't see Michigan having any chance in this game. I'll play devil's advocate for one scenario. And Josh, this involves a question for you as a Michigan fan. So, how is Michigan's D-line and secondary this year?
Michigan has the best defensive line in college football, and I will go to my grave saying that.
Okay, how's the secondary?
The secondary, they have Will Johnson, who is the best cornerback in college football.
Okay.
However, there's questions because they are starting a redshirt freshman in Jair Hill, which obviously unexperienced with the redshirt freshman. They do have a senior Moore in the secondary, so it's up in the air. Will Johnson shuts down the one side, though.
Gotcha. All right. So my thinking is I think Texas will win this game, but Michigan has a chance to make it close, and that's if they can shut down the run from C.J. Baxter. And you say they have one of the best defensive lines in the country.
Baxter has a torn ACL.
Oh, Baxter does have a torn ACL. I missed that. Okay. Well, in that case, then that makes Texas's offense. I don't know any of the backups on Texas. I'm not a Texas fan. That makes their offense very one-dimensional, and Quinn Ewers is going to have to throw the ball, and it seems like to me the game plan is just going to be throw the ball where Will Johnson is not.
Correct. Yep.
And I think doing that, I think they'll probably be able to buoy the run game enough with that to be able to pull out the win. That's my opinion.
Okay.
For me, third string running back for Texas does make it a little bit one-sided. However, Texas has Isaiah Bond and Matthew Golden, who are extremely fast, extremely talented. They will make sure to pick on Jair Hill. Quinn Ewers' experience in some big games. Texas will beat Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I will say one more thing.
we're not delusional. That's
Yeah, we're not delusional.
Texas will beat Michigan.
One more thing to ask you, Josh.
Yes.
So now we've got the Don starting there. Texas last year, I looked this up. Texas had the 3rd best run defense in the country last season. How do you think they will do against the Don without Sweat and Murphy?
Their defense is still really good from what I watched last week. It's one of those things where Texas doesn't rebuild, they reload.
That's fair.
When you can recruit top talent like that. So the Don is going to have to step up, though. What I saw last week from the Don was very disappointing. I am the biggest the Don believer, and I need to see the man who played versus Washington. I need to see the man who's played versus Ohio State if we have any chance of winning. But I don't see it. Texas is the better team, and Texas will win the game.
Yep.
So moving on to the next game. That pains me to say. I can't believe I just said that. On CBS at 3:30, we have the 71st annual Cy-Hawk game between Iowa State and number 21 Iowa. Iowa leads the series 47-23 and has won 8 of the last 10 games. Iowa State is coming off a 21-3 win over North Dakota, while Iowa put up 40. Yes, people, that is not a word. Iowa dropped 40 on Illinois State, which is only the third time since 2020.
Wow.
So, gentlemen, Ben, you first. Who do you
Yes.
got, Iowa State or Iowa?
I mean, like you mentioned, it was a great offensive performance last week for Iowa. I feel like they're going to continue that momentum. So give me the Hawkeyes.
Colton.
Give me the Cyclones. I
All
like
right.
the underdogs here. Iowa. I just struggle to see that team scoring 40 points. Like I can't see how, but I guess it's against an easier opponent. But I like Iowa State because I like their coach Campbell. He's a good coach.
Love Matt Campbell.
I think he's able to. We'll see him. I think they're projected lower than what they will actually do, like in terms of winning and whatnot. I don't know why I worded it that way, but yeah, I like this Iowa State team. I don't like the Iowa team, so give me the Cyclones.
Garrett, you got thoughts on this one?
Oh, I have so many thoughts on this one. Iowa and Iowa State is far and away one of my most favorite early season college football games because it is always 100% absolute chaos. These teams generally do not have good offenses. They have decent defenses, and for some reason, whenever these two teams meet, there is always 10 turnovers in these games. I swear to God, there are so many turnovers in these games. It is crazy. Now, I will say, as far as a lean goes, I don't really have a lean because, like I said, this game's always chaotic. You never know who's going to win. However, the recent trend, the past 2 seasons, the away team has won in a one-score game. Granted, that's a very small sample size, but the away team has won the past 2 years. They're playing in Iowa this year. Give me Iowa State to win.
I do find that comment funny in Iowa, considering could still be Iowa State.
That's
technically.
fair. Okay.
No, we got what you're saying.
That's fair.
We got what you're saying, Garrett. You're good. You're
It's
good.
being played in Iowa City this year. That is where the University of Iowa is
I
located.
thought you were going to say like it was in like a neutral location
No,
or
it is
something.
not in a neutral site.
So
It's-
then you was in
it's-
Iowa. I'm like, okay, we're in Iowa.
Okay, that's my bad.
No. It's just me being a smartass. But
No, you called me out on it. That's great.
So for me, I'm going to ride with the team that has showed a balanced offense last week of 492 yards, the most they've had since 2019. A freshman wide receiver, Vander Zies, who had 2 touchdowns, which is the first time Iowa wide receiver had 2 touchdowns in a game since 2020. And finally is throwing the ball with Cade McNamara. 3 to his wide receiver. Didn't know they knew what that was. I'm taking the Hawkeyes. By the way, gentlemen, the Hawkeyes do not play Michigan, Penn State, USC, or Oregon.
so
We're
are we
looking at
implying-
Iowa. We're looking at Iowa potentially Big Ten championship game because of that.
Don't tell me that.
Listen, no Michigan, no
It
Penn
happens
State,
in
no
college
USC,
football
no
often.
Oregon. Everybody else beats up on each other, and then they get in with only 1 loss to Ohio
So
State.
basically,
Did they get into the playoff based on that?
they might,
Hey,
based
I
on
mean,
that cupcake
True,
schedule.
I mean, Big Ten championship would. And then, can you imagine if Iowa gets a home game and somebody has to play in Iowa in December? Boy, oh boy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Whew.
that's not fun.
Alrighty, so we're moving on to the next
Hey,
one.
they're gonna play Purdue, so they'll be they're
Yeah,
done.
okay, we're done there. We're moving on. We're moving on to a matchup that I'm really looking forward to. It's the team that me and Colton are high on, along with a quarterback Ben is high on. Number
Yep.
14 Tennessee and number 24 NC State. 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Tennessee handled their opponent in a 69-3 win with Nico. Not even going to try to pronounce that last name.
No
Smart
worries.
introduced himself to college
Has a
football
job.
with 314 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. Meanwhile,
that, Colton.
Monty Colton's team, NC State, survived Western Carolina 38-21 behind sophomore wide receiver Kevin Concepcion, coming out party with 9 receptions, 121 yards, and 3 TDs. Garrett, if you have a take on this one, I will throw it to you first.
All right. I think the big storyline here is obviously going to be the quarterback play. You have a true freshman in Nico. I think it's Iamaliva or Yamaliva.
Redshirt freshman.
He's a redshirt freshman?
Redshirt
Okay,
freshman.
I apologize. Redshirt freshman against, I believe he's, Ferguson McCall's a redshirt senior, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so a redshirt freshman against a redshirt senior in a ranked matchup at 7:30 at night. They're playing in NC State?
Yes, in Raleigh.
Yes, they are playing in Raleigh, North Carolina. I like the senior leadership of Grayson McCall over the freshman mindset that a freshman quarterback may have in big games like that. And I also really like the McCall to Concepcion connection. I think that will probably be one of, if not the best QB wide receiver duo outside of like your mainstay powerhouse programs. I think that connection is going to raise a few eyebrows.
That's fair. I have the same take. I'm taking NC State due to experience of Grayson McCall.
Yep.
Yeah, no, same here. Grayson McCall, Concepcion connection. I love it. I'm not going to repeat it anymore. Give me NC State.
I'm actually going Tennessee in this matchup.
There we go.
Ah,
Got to make the
Mr.
graphic
SEC.
different.
Oh, yeah.
Can't be the same color all the way across.
Of course, of course.
But yeah, Nico, he had a great game last week, and not just him, but that whole Tennessee offense, though. But I do have concerns about the NC State defense. Like, how will they bounce back after almost getting upset by Western Carolina? So, as of right now, I'm going with Tennessee. I feel like that offense is going to show up again. So, give me the Vols.
All right, moving on. We go 7:30 on NBC/Peacock. Old Big 12 rivalry, no longer Big 12 because we got one into Big 12, back into Big 12, while the other one's over into Big 10. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Thanks, conference alignment. We got Colorado at Nebraska. 73rd meeting in their history. Nebraska is 49, 21-2. Colorado, however, has won 3 in a row, including last year's 36-14 win in Boulder. So, Ben, who you got?
I'm going with Nebraska in this one. I mean, I like their defense last week versus UTEP. Okay. And I like their quarterback as well, Dylan
Raiola.
I feel like he is going to show up big in this matchup, so I'm going with Nebraska.
For me, I am going to take the team that doesn't want the Patrick Mahomes wannabe. I'm going to go ahead and take Colorado to win this. However, I am very concerned because their defense last week gave up 449 yards of offense. That probably doesn't win on the road at Nebraska.
Tell me who did it, Josh. Tell me who did it. Who'd they allow all those yards for?
North Dakota State.
Yeah, FCS school getting 450 plus yards.
I was
Travis Hunter, who?
You mean Travis Hunter had 7 catches, 132 yards, and 3 touchdowns? Is that Travis Hunter?
Well, that's the offensive Travis Hunter. That's not the defensive Travis Hunter.
Oh, they didn't throw his way.
Well, you know, I wouldn't either.
I think if you're going to play that card, I feel like North Dakota State's literally the best FCS school you could face. Like they would give a lot of team fits in FBS for sure. It just happens to be the most overhyped team in history. Give me Nebraska.
All right, Garrett, your pick?
It's fair. I think what no one has pointed out yet is the fact that this is going to be a really great coaching battle between Coach Prime and Matt Rule. I believe this is Rule's first year at Nebraska
Correct.
after being let go from.
already second.
Yeah, it's
It's his second year.
Dang,
Second
time
year.
flies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Don't remind me about that. So second year at Nebraska. Like I said, I just think this is going to be a really good coaching battle. However, I think the difference is going to be that Colorado has more talent on both offense and defense, and that the Colorado Buffaloes will overwhelm Dylan Raiola, and the Buffs win in a 2-score game.
All right, moving to what used to be the Pac-12 at night, but technically still is, I guess. We got the Mike Leach Bowl, and this is why I picked it. Texas Tech at Washington State, 10 p.m. on Fox. I need a pirate ship as a trophy. Texas Tech coming off of a 52-51 OT win at home versus Abilene Christian. Meanwhile, Washington State dropped 70 on Portland State in a 70-30 win. All I can say is I want an air raid shootout, put up points. I don't care who wins, but I'm going to take Washington State and their players being a little bit more motivated to prove that they deserve to be in a Power 5 conference and their alma mater was disrespected. Colton.
Give me Washington State for the same reasons as you, man. I mean, and you just look at the difference. Washington State blew out their FCS opponent, whereas Texas Tech had to go into overtime against their FCS opponent. So, give me the Wazoo.
Yeah, I'm going Washington State as well. I mean, obviously a great offensive performance last week against Portland State, but coming into this game, I had my concerns with Texas Tech's defense. I mean, to nearly losing against Abilene Christian is just absolutely crazy. So I feel like the offense is going to show up big against this defense, so I'm taking Washington State.
Garrett.
Yeah, I don't really want to echo all the points that everyone else has said.
So just
But-
give us your pick.
Wazoo. It's gonna be Wazoo. You
If-
can't
you
go
can
into
hear the
OT
pain
with
in his
Abilene
voice to say
Christian.
that,
That's
too.
bad.
Yeah. So, last but not least, the fun part of the show. We're all going to pick an upset special here. It has to be a team, whether they're 1-point underdog or they're 100-point underdog in Vegas. Garrett, I know you had 2 in mind, so we'll throw them to you to hear yours first.
I do have 2. I'll do the easier one really quick that I think everyone knows I'm picking. It's Boise State and Oregon. Oregon, what happens last week?
Nothing.
That can't happen.
Nothing.
That can't happen, and I think it's sort of you have to approach this with a similar attitude that Florida State did with Boston College, where it's like playing Boise State at home is not going to be a bounce back game for you. Boise State is a really good team, and a lot of people have picked them to be the Group of 5 representative in the college football playoff. So this is by no means a slouch of a game. Ashton Genty had 6 touchdowns and 270 yards last week because he's just like that, I guess. So I expect this game to be a lot tighter than people think. My second upset pick, really quick. Georgia Tech is playing Syracuse in the Orange Dome. Now, this is a Kyle McCord-led Syracuse squad. This is a guy that transferred from Ohio State. My thinking is that this team is going to give a Georgia State team fits because
Tech.
Tech. God damn it. Georgia Tech. Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech team fits because of the quarterback play of Kyle McCord. I think that game should be a big upset watch, especially after what Georgia State did the first 2 weeks. of the season.
Tech.
So I need... Yeah,
God,
yeah.
Georgia Tech. Georgia
So-
Tech. Georgia
Hey,
Tech. Georgia Tech.
I did it last
I
week.
do need your official pick, though, please. Which one is your official pick of the upset?
For the upset, I think I want Syracuse. I think I'll take Syracuse over Georgia Tech, but I still think Oregon will beat Boise
Boo.
State, but it'll be close.
Side note, that was one of my options as well.
Was it Syracuse, Georgia Tech?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like to accuse Kyle McCord, very disrespected. Watch that kid. He is
Yep.
going to make Ohio State fans regret the day that they bashed him.
Absolutely,
And I was
100%.
one of them, but
I-
I just did it because he's a Buckeye. As in, I bashed him.
Wait,
As in, I bashed-
no.
I-
He said he will make Ohio State fans regret the day. You gotta be careful with your words, man.
Yeah.
Words do
And
mean
then
things.
said I was
Words do
one of
mean
them.
things. Words do mean things. I was one of the people who bashed him. Anyway,
Okay.
Ben, Colton, which one do you guys want to go next?
Then you go ahead.
All right, so I'm taking California over Auburn. I like Jaden Oat. Is that his name? Okay. Sorry about that. But I feel like he's one of the best backs in the country, and I feel like making the long trip to Auburn, I feel like he's going to make a lot of noise. So give me California over Auburn.
I like it.
Give me Eastern Carolina, a team that, Garrett is a little familiar with. He's been doing a dynasty with them.
Let's go Pirates.
They are going
Arr.
up against the. They are going up against the Old Dominion. I don't even know their name. They got like a crown in their
The
logo.
Monarchs.
The Monarchs. I'm just kind of surprised that they were the underdog in this one. They got just by 2.5, so not by much. And I think Eastern Carolina will get that win.
I will say, when I played them, when I played ODU as East Carolina in my dynasty, I lost like 42-6. So
What?
maybe there's some genuine.
Isn't ODU like the
research
lowest
to
ranked
that.
team in the game or something?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, we won't go
But,
there.
yeah, but so I had 2 also, and I know I'm overachiever, but this is the one that just keep an eye on. Appalachian State going to Clemson. The Aguilar to Robinson combo is absolutely no joke. That App State team can put up points. However, it's in Death Valley. I'll take Clemson to win that, so that's not my pick. My official pick, however, is UL Monroe over UAB.
So we're going with our college football teams.
And the reason why I'm picking UL Monroe, however, is because former interim head coach Bryant Vincent coached at UAB, led UAB as the interim coach to a 7-6 record and won in the Bahamas Bowl. However, UAB decided, you know what, we're going to want a bigger name. We're going to hire Trent Dilfer. As a result, Bryant Vincent has now went and got a job with UL Monroe. So him and General Booty, rocking everywhere, upset happening, Malone Stadium, UL Monroe.
Go Warhawks.
Warhawks. Colton, feel free to end the show now.
That's a lot of booty.
Yeah.
That was a lot of booty.
Yeah.
This show had a lot of booty. That's what I
And
would say.
rocking everywhere. Don't forget.
I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Josh, Ben, and Garrett, of course, all for coming in. Garrett, thank you for all you do on the director's chair. You do a lot of good work back there. We gave you a lot of talking points today, huh?
Yeah,
This is what it looks like when Garrett gets them free
this is
roam.
what happens. This is what happens when Garrett talks about a subject he's passionate
Yeah,
about.
you know this. No bad things. You know, no bad. All right. So we'll see you guys. Thank you, Bill, NK Media Services, for all that you do making this show better each and every week. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.